We're here at Accountex 2018, and one of the hottest of hot topics here is GDPR. 4 little letters, but a lot of trouble for accountants. With me to discuss this is Steve Checkley, Director over at TaxCalc. Hi, Steve.
Hi, how you doing?
Very well indeed. Yeah, this is the first interview we're doing from Accountex, so all very exciting. So, Steve, I think we've had a lot of column inches about GDPR across mainstream media and the accountancy press, but what is it actually, down to brass tacks, what does it mean for accountants?
I think for accountants, GDPR means 2 things. There's GDPR for the practice, a quite holistic approach to GDPR. So what are the business processes that firms have? What do they do with the data? How well is that data stored? How do they interact with subcontractors, outsource, and so on and so forth? And then for the clients themselves, they have reinforced rights to marketing and particular interest in the engagement process and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a 2-pronged thing.
So obviously in your role you've been engaging with a lot of practices, going through their sort of GDPR workflows and things. How are you finding the preparedness and the attitudes of these practices towards GDPR?
It's a very interesting question, because we have some practices that they've clearly been going through a very detailed process, and they've been engaging with us on, for example, if they're using Cloud Connect, how do we look after the data, what are our responsibilities, and so on and so forth there. We've actually put a privacy not just a privacy notice, but an actual statement up to answer these questions for our customers. So rather than engage us individually, they can do that. And then we have at the other end as well, where practices are not really taking GDPR too seriously. And this is probably something that, certainly with my talk tomorrow, hopefully can change the education of that.
Sure, and TaxCalc have launched their new GDPR product at Accountex. Can you just tell me a little bit about what that does, the GDPR Centre?
Yes, so we had a lot of practices, a lot of customers come to us and say, right, we understand GDPR conceptually, but what do we have to do? What is an activity register or whatever? So we've actually built a product for practices that, in essence, guides them through the process of capturing the data. So should the ICO ever come knocking in the future, there are registers, there are risk assessments, there are various questionnaires filled in that can demonstrate to the ICO we've been through a process and this is what we've done to prepare ourselves.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure it's not the last we've heard of GDPR, but for the time being, thanks for your time, Steve.
Thank you very much.